Snow drifted softly over the rooftops of Pine Hollow, a quiet mountain town where rumors traveled faster than the wind. Everyone knew everyone's business, especially when it came to shame. And there was no shame more whispered about than infertility. Lana had lived with those whispers all her life. At 17, she discovered the truth. Her parents had been planning to sell her. Not because they were starving. Not because they needed money. But because she couldn't give them grandchildren. Her mother had told her the news without emotion, as if reading a menu. A family in town wants a young girl. They'll pay well. You'll be better off with them. You'll be better off. Those words haunted Lana as she was escorted to the wagon of the man who purchased her. She didn't know his name. Only that he had a reputation for breaking horses and people. But fate intervened in the unlikeliest form. At the edge of town, a large man stepped out from the forest trail, blocking the wagon's path. His axe rested on his shoulder, snow dusting his thick coat and tangled hair. His name was Elias Ward, the lonely lumberjack of Pine Hollow. Widower. Father of 4 children. A giant of a man with a quiet, weary soul. His voice rumbled low. "Where are you talkin', the girl?" "None of your concern," the buyer snapped. Elias's eyes fell on Lana. Her wrists were bound, her face pale, her lips trembling. Something in him cracked. "It is my concern," he said, stepping closer. "I know her." That was a lie. He'd never seen her before. But the moment their eyes met, the moment he saw the silent plea in hers, he knew she needed saving. "She's spoken for," Elias said firmly. "By me." The buyer scoffed. "You gonna pay for her?" Elias reached into his coat and pulled out a small leather pouch. He tossed it to the man without checking the amount. "Take it. And leave." The buyer counted the coins, grinning. "Pleasure doin' business." When the wagon rolled away, Elias turned to the trembling girl. "You're safe now," he said gently, lowering his axe. Lana stared at him, stunned. Why would you buy a stranger?" Elias shrugged. Didn't sit right, what they were doing. He approached slowly, not wanting to scare her. "What's your name?" "Lana." "Well, Lana, I'm Elias. I've got a cabin a few miles up the mountain. And 4 little ones who could use some help." A faint smile touched his lips. "If you want a place to start over, you're welcome there." Tears filled Lana's eyes. No one had offered her kindness in years. Elias unbound her wrists and lifted her onto his horse. She felt small, fragile, but for the first time in a long time, hopeful. She rode into the forest with the lonely lumberjack, unaware that her life, and his, was about to change in ways neither of them expected. Elias's cabin sat nestled between towering pines, warm light flickering through the windows like a beacon of safety. Lana hesitated at the door, unsure of what awaited inside. But when Elias pushed it open, chaos greeted them in the most unexpected way. 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, rushed toward their father, all talking at once. "Pa, you're late. Is that a stranger? I finished my chores. Is she staying?" "Easy," Elias rumbled, raising a hand. "This is Lana. She's gonna help around here, if she wants to." The children stared at her with wide, curious eyes. Not judgmental, not cruel, just curious. Lana swallowed, unsure how to respond. "Hello," she whispered. The youngest girl, no more than 6, approached timidly and pressed a small wooden toy into Lana's hand. "You can have it," she said shyly. Warmth spread through Lana's chest. It had been years since anyone offered her something out of kindness. Elias watched the moment, something soft flickering in his eyes. "Kids, help her settle in," he said gently. Over the next days, Lana learned the rhythm of cabin life. She cooked simple meals, fetched water from the creek, mended clothes, and brushed the children's hair. The work didn't feel like chores, it felt like belonging. Something she'd never known. The children adored her. The boys competed to show her their wood carvings, while the girls clung to her skirt, wanting to braid her hair. At night, they begged her to tell stories. She invented tales on the spot, watching their tired eyes glow with wonder. Elias observed quietly, often from the doorway, arms crossed, expression unreadable. One evening, as Lana stirred stew over the fire, he stepped beside her. "You're good with them," he said. She smiled softly. "They're easy to love." Elias hesitated. You never told me why your parents sold you." Lana stiffened, the spoon pausing in her hand. "Because I can't give children." Her voice cracked. "They said I was useless." Elias's gaze darkened. Not toward her, but toward the cruelty she'd endured. Useless, he repeated. Lana, I've raised these four alone for years. I've seen what they need. His voice softened. And it ain't just a mother. It's kindness, patience, comfort. You got all that. More than enough. Lana looked up at him, heart trembling. No one had ever spoken to her with such sincerity. But safety didn't last long. One stormy night, a loud knock shook the cabin. Elias opened the door, and there stood Lana's parents, soaked in rain, eyes hungry with greed. She belongs to us, her father said coldly. Fear crashed over Lana like ice. Elias stepped in front of her. Not anymore, he growled. Not ever again. Lightning cracked across the sky as Lana's parents shoved their way into the cabin. The children huddled behind the dining table, eyes wide with fear. Lana trembled, trying to shrink behind Elias, but he gently pushed her behind him, shielding her with his broad frame. We didn't come to argue, her father snarled. We came for payment. Elias narrowed his eyes. I paid. Not enough. Her mother crossed her arms. We heard she's living comfortable here. We want her back, or we want more money. Lana felt her lungs tighten. Please, no. I don't want to go. Her mother shot her a cold look. You don't get to want your property. Elias's jaw flexed. A dangerous stillness settled around him. She ain't property, he said, voice low and lethal. She's a person, and she belongs nowhere she don't want to be. Her father scoffed. You think you can keep her? What'll you do? Fight us? If I have to. The older man took a threatening step forward. We'll bring the sheriff. The whole town knows we raised her. And the whole town knows you sold her, Elias shot back. No sheriff will side with you. They hadn't expected resistance. They certainly hadn't expected a man willing to stand between them and their daughter. Her mother's lip curled. She's barren, Elias. Can't give you nothing. Why protect her? The air thickened. Lana bowed her head in shame, until Elias turned and gently lifted her chin. I don't want her for children, he said firmly. I want her because she's good. Because she's kind. Because she saved this home more than she'll ever know. Then he looked at her parents with blazing fury. And if you can't see her worth, that's your curse, not mine. Her parents exchanged glances, cold, defeated, but greed still clawed at them. We're not leaving empty-handed, her father insisted. Elias stepped closer, towering over him. You leave now, or you leave carried. The threat was clear. A long tense silence filled the cabin. Rain hammered the roof. The fire crackled. The children clung to each other. Finally, her parents retreated, grumbling curses under their breath. Elias didn't lower his stance until they disappeared into the storm. Lana exhaled shakily and dropped to her knees, tears spilling down her face. Elias knelt with her, pulling her into his arms. You're safe, he whispered. As long as I breathe, you're safe. The children gathered around them, wrapping small arms around her shoulders. For the first time, Lana felt loved. Later that night, as the storm calmed, Elias sat beside her by the fire. Lana, he began, voice deep and hesitant, I know your past made you believe you ain't enough. But I'm asking you something now, not out of need, but out of choice. He took her hand gently. Would you stay? Not as a guest, not as a helper, but as part of this family, as my wife. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Elias, yes. 1,000 times yes. The lonely lumberjack had saved her. But she saved him too, in ways neither could speak aloud. And together, in that warm cabin on the mountainside, a broken girl and a weary father built something stronger than blood. A family.